Hey, Moms on a Mission family, thank you for joining us today. If you're new to this platform, our three pillars are to educate, awake, and activate. And I know we would all love to have a new president just come in and fix everything, but our country is so bad. It is now going to require all of us, every single one of us, to do something every day to protect our children and subsequently to save our nation. I'm incredibly excited for you to meet our guest today. We welcome to the show Shannon Coulter. She is a very gifted mom. She was just on a quest to strip her kids from the grip of these electronic devices, and she was trying to inspire creativity by having them make up their own games, go outside, and just learn how to have fun with what's on the inside of them. So she joins us today to share how she has provided this opportunity with her 7-book series called Fassa Tales. Before she joins us, I wanted to remind you about our affiliation with Dr. Jason Dean. He has come up with this anti-parasitic supplement called Full Moon Protocol. It is incredibly powerful. And I know we talk about health and wellness and losing weight and things like that at the beginning of the new year. And I think this is a perfect time to try this. Parasites really are the cause of a lot of chronic conditions like fatigue, anxiety, depression, and unexplained digestive issues. So why not give it a try? Go to bravetv.store/mission. That's bravetv.store/mission and order the Full Moon Protocol today. And with that code MISSION, you'll get $20 off your first order. And I can't wait to hear your great results. Hi, Shannon. Thank you so much for joining the Moms on a Mission podcast today.
Hey, Miriam. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So for those who may not know you, I would love for you to share what your background was before you became a children's book author.
Okay, so out of school, I went into corporate America and I was a communications consultant. So where I was consulting was anytime employees were the audience in a company. So it was basically human resources, but if you had a benefits change, if you had a retirement stock sale or something like that. So I was communicating to all different types of people. It was very exciting. I didn't know what I wanted to do, which is kind of funny. So I was like, I'll be a consultant and then I can go and see all these different companies. And then I decided I didn't want to work for any of them. But so I was in Sara Lee, Kraft, Boeing, AstraZeneca, all of these big companies. And it was really neat because I got to see, like I said, the inner workings of companies, but I got to communicate I would take different programs and I would communicate to the executives. I would communicate to the hourly employees. So all different types of audiences, which is really fun for me because I love writing. And we did all sorts of campaigns, but towards the end of me being in corporate America, the campaigns, we started adding health incentive programs and they were wellness campaigns. So I was involved with trying to help people stop smoking, take care of themselves better. I did a whole thing for truck drivers to sleep more so they were safer on the road. It was kind of fun, but they were called health incentive programs. And so basically, they set up programs for employees, and if they did a 5K, they could say, I did a 5K, and they'd get points from the company, and then they would be able to get prizes and stuff like that. And they were really successful, and I found so much joy in that because I was actually, getting people to sign up for the correct HMO. I mean, it's good, but it really
Not super exciting.
no, didn't really ignite the passion.
Right.
But when I got to interview people that had lost a bunch of weight, that quit smoking, that were eating healthier, I really felt such joy in that. And I just had more passion. At the same time, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how did you transition out of that? Because it sounds like you were joyful in that arena, but yet maybe not completely fulfilled.
Yes. So I was looking at it, and at the same time that started happening in my company, I met the love of my life, my husband, and he came with 3 children. I always like to say that we dated for a year and a half before I met the children because he didn't want them to meet me, and if it didn't go right, to lose another adult, which I always say is brilliant for 2 reasons. It was good for the kids, but also then I couldn't live without him, and then all of a sudden I had 3 kids. So, like, wow.
Yeah.
But so I was already thinking, like, we're doing these health incentive programs. Why are we not growing people up this way? Like, why isn't this just something we're teaching kids? So at the same time, I meet my husband's, now my kids. And I'll never forget, I told them to go outside and play, and they came in 5 minutes later and were like, we don't know what to do. And I was floored. So this was back 2008, 2007. And I was floored. I was like, you don't know what to do. And no, and I'm thrust into parenthood at this point. So I started doing research because that's kind of what I did. And I realized it was not at all unique to our situation that children didn't know how to play. And at the same time, I was watching them be on what was called sticky technology at the time. So it was things like, I don't know if you've heard of these, like Club Penguin, Toontown. The whole idea is to get kids
Yes.
on the screen and then stuck to it.
Yeah.
So it really upset me for them, but also I was like, oh my gosh, my whole life, I'm sure yours too, was playing. Like
Right.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, so after doing that research, I actually left corporate America to start a health incentive company for children. Yeah, and we had investors, we did the whole thing. And basically what we did is it's a long story, but we had the whole thing set up. We had a website, and the idea was to use technology to get kids off of technology. So we had all these activities that kids could do. And then if they did them, their parents gave them points, and we set up a point system. Behind that were my characters that you're going to see in my stories. And so I had written 6 books in a year. And that was to get the kids interested in wanting to go play with the characters online. I'm going to pause it right there. We ended up having some family issues, and we built a website, came out in 2012, right when apps came out. So spent all this money doing that, apps come out.
Hmm.
So couple that with some family stuff. And so we kind of put the whole thing on pause. And then I like to say this at the time, being an entrepreneur, being someone who had been successful in my 20s in corporate America, I felt like a complete failure.
Mm.
Looking back on it now, I am so grateful to God because that was my chance to be a parent. So it ended up that all 3 kids ended up living with us. And I am so grateful for that because they are, I'm their bonus mom. They're my kids. They were my chance to be a mom. And there's nothing better than that. So, so that's kind of what happened. There's more to tell about the kids, but I did try this out on the kids. We had the website, we had all the activities, and I do now have 3 playful, imaginative adults. They're 20, 24, and 26. So I know it works. But starting again 2020, probably COVID, I had written those 6 books really quickly. I was never too fond of them because I was writing technical documents, and here all of a sudden I started writing kids' books. I had no idea what I'm doing, right? So I did them. I love writing. The books are about cats and dogs, and they're all animals my husband and I have loved throughout our life. So they're our pets. So we sat down and we figured out what all of them would love to do. This is my website. So this is the website just about my books. Thank you for pulling that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
ssculture.com.
sscoulter.com. So basically, I spent the time in 2020, my kids are older, and I started rewriting these books. And so right now I'm focused on these books. My idea is to give parents what I saw in my research back in 2008, and it's worse now, is parents are having an extraordinarily hard time competing with technology. So these books, they have a story in them. Like I was saying, all these characters are animals that I've had as pets. So they were really fun to write about. And they're stories based on things that happened in my childhood. But what these books are, they are a story with a lesson in them. And then they're followed by hours of activities that actually drive home the lesson with parent participation. The idea was to get kids to love these characters, see them have like a happy ending, be rooting for them, and then you get all these activities that so here this is great. This is book 1, Where on Earth Am I? The main lesson is persistence pays off, and then we follow it by activities that repeat what happened in the story, and the kids get to do what the characters did, all while playing and being offline. So each book is 80 to 95 pages long. So if you go out and you're like, well, why is this book $9.99? Why is this one $12.99? I like to say that it's a lot of meat in that sandwich. They're not like
Yeah.
short
Right.
little books. Starting back to when I first wrote them, and by the way, I like these ones much better. I learned that you show don't tell in books. So instead of saying like Fassa was frowning, Fassa was sad, I say Fassa was frowning, so kids can then, oh, he's sad. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's show don't tell. So
Right.
that's the idea behind the books. They're jam packed full of stuff. My heart is to help parents by giving them play ideas. So you have the kids, they read the book, and then you're going to find in the books there's plot twists. So there's two plot twists where the story goes a little off, and the character does something, makes a choice that gets them off the path to their happy endings. And so then we say, okay, do this little thing to get the character back on track. And they're just quick little things to make kids think and move and see that choices do have consequences. There are hidden pictures because did you do highlights in the hidden pictures growing up?
I did, and I loved that. It was my
Yes.
favorite part of the whole highlights. We're dating
Yeah. So
ourselves now.
yeah. So there's just let me grab one of the books if that's okay,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
kind of show
yeah,
you.
yeah,
So this is the first one. I'm so sorry. It's got a gray line. If you When you buy the book, no, there will
yes.
not be a gray line through it. This is a pre-print copy, and then I sold them and didn't buy any more before the podcast. I'm sorry.
No, you're
So
good.
first, I wanted to point out the books have pictures, throughout the books, but I did use a lot of words because my whole thing was getting kids to use their imagination. I want them to spend time in the book. I want to use hard words. Like these books are there to get kids to read with you, to ask you questions. So there is a lot going on the pages, but pictures to go through. But I also didn't want to tell, in the pictures, everything that's going on in the story, because that's counterproductive to your imagination.
Yes. And
If you
can
want to be,
I want to say
yeah,
something that I just absolutely love about your intentionality in authoring something you hadn't even done before, but wow, how brilliant. And that is to challenge kids and help them learn to be uncomfortable with
yes,
not knowing everything right away. And I believe in the dumbing down of America that is occurring right now, and they're being taught what to think instead of how to think. These books really teach them how to think because they're having to sit in these indecisive moments and ask
yes,
their parents what these words mean, and then try to figure out what's going on. And it really establishes, like we talked about before the show, critical thinking. And that's
yes,
what's lacking, you see, in this woke agenda and what's happening all across America with no pause and no real critical thinking to decipher what's happening. Is that right? Is that logical? Does that make sense? And
exactly.
you're raising up the next generation with these books to get them to critically think.
Yes, exactly. And when I started doing these again back into the late 2000s, I went out and looked at children's books, and that's exactly what I found. They felt like they were dumbing the kids down. They just had a few words, and they weren't in. And I know there's a lot more books out there. There's some great books out there now. But when I was looking at it, I was kind of, well, we're not expecting much of our children, and people are looking at children like, what's wrong with kids today? Kids are no different than we were. It's our expectations of them have changed. They can do the same things we did. We just have to give them the opportunity. I truly believe that they are wonderful human beings. It's the world they're in right now, and we have control over it. So,
Well, and when you
um,
look at the education in America, it has contributed. I mean, we are complicit in this because we have not altered and asked for the curricula to be altered. And so, before, back in the day when it was classical education and classical Christian education, where they were taught about liberal arts, they were taught about the Greeks and the Romans and their history and how that led to the establishment of Christianity
right,
and the establishment of our Judeo-Christian roots and our Western values. And they're just not really learning these things anymore. They're not learning about socialism and communism anymore. And so I think that it has been purposefully altered so that critical thinking is not super deep because you aren't as easily controlled if you're using critical thinking. And I love how you, with children, are pushing back against that narrative by teaching them to be creative, which will subsequently teach them to critically think.
yeah, exactly. And I actually think I heard you talking about that somewhere when you started pushing back on the school, that you looked at the curriculum and saw that a bunch of the stuff had been taken out of it because they're so interested in the getting the right test scores and all of this stuff. And it's not good for the kids. It's not how we learn. And I'll get more into that like further in back in the book, because if you're just sitting kids in the chair at all times too, that's not good for them at
Right,
all.
right.
Because we all learn differently. So yeah, so at the end of every book, so this is me, see the curly hair?
Oh, I love it. That's so great.
So at the end of every book, there is the main lesson. So this one is my persistence has paid off. Fassa thought with a grin. Perhaps he would see his friend again, and it leads to a cliffhanger to the next books. You do not have to buy my books in a row. You can buy one in the center, the middle of the series. There's 7 total of them, but I did write them with the cliffhanger to get kids excited, like, oh, what happened next? But I didn't want to make it, so you have to. If you do get all 7, it is like a 7-chapter book.
Ah, okay.
So that's how I wrote it. But I only did one chapter in each book because, like I said, these are 80 pages long. So then after this, you go into it's time for fun now. And so as it says here, there's plot twists, activities, hidden pictures, coloring pages, a word search and quiz, and then there's a preview of the next book. So as I was talking about, so I have 2 plot twists in every book, and they take the main lesson and they twist it. So this one is persistence pays off. And so my 2 plots are, if at first you don't succeed, try again, and mind over matter. So I'm really, the books were really trying to drive home that for the kids. So if you see here, this is what happens in the original story. And I say, what happens when he makes these good choices. But over here, what if he did this? What if he gave up? Uh-oh, he's not going to get to what has already happened. So then I kind of just describe here, I'll just read this because it's easier, but I say, sometimes when things are hard, we want to give up after just a few tries. The good news is that if we keep trying and don't give up, we can be a success. We can succeed. And then I say, help Fassa keep trying until he succeeds by cheering for them. So the kids just do a little cheer, but they're seeing, oh, I understand that. So there's 2 of those in every book. And then there's 5 activities. And so again, the activities, so in this book, Fassa's using his senses to figure out where he is. He's stuck somewhere. He doesn't know where he is. So again, the activities go back to, you saw Fassa do this, so you're going to do something like it. So it's getting the kids interested, because they liked Fassa, hopefully.
And you're really connecting them with the characters. I think as they get connected to the characters, they want to be like them. They want to emulate them, just like they would a movie character or the princess movies. I mean, those are super powerful with our.
Yeah.
And so I love the connection techniques because that way it gives these good characters more influence on the kids' lives.
Absolutely. And when we were doing the biographies of the characters, my husband and I, again, these are animals that we had throughout our lives. And we really did take a long time to figure out what did they like, what they don't like, what are they scared of, what's their favorite music. We also made sure there's somebody that we think represents every kind of personality. Fassa, this character, he's based off of my cat growing up, my cat in my 20s, absolutely hysterical. His name was Mufasa, but when I started this, people were like, do not say Mufasa, Disney will come after you. I was like, okay, I'm not dealing with
Yeah, smart.
who am I? But so he's Fassa, but he was hysterical. So he's the main character because I actually said to him in my condo downtown Chicago, I'll never forget, I said, I'm going to write about you because he was so funny. And then I just made it come to pass, I guess, with the help of God. So there's a scientist, there's a jock, there's one that's just, she's a big talker. So we really tried to make sure that everybody can connect with somebody. My second character is somebody who's been, hurt and she's having a hard time connecting with people. She's adorable. So you can just kind of feel who you are in these characters. And then we made them cats and dogs because who can't relate to cats and dogs?
Right.
So to describe like one of the activities, now there's 5 activities in each book. And then because we had the company before, I have taken a bunch of the activities that we made for that and put them out on my site that you showed earlier because I wanted people to have access to them. They're free. I am really trying to help parents with, so if you go up to the top here, there's the book activities, but if you go over to more activities, these are going to be the types of things you find in the books, but we've taken them and put them out there. They are categorized by heart, mind, or body, because that makes a full person. So if you have a child who's having a hard time focusing, you can do a mind one. If you have one that's not being really nice, you can do a heart one. And if you have, just sitting around, you can do the body ones. But they all are out there. They're free. You just click on the link and it brings it up, and it's got, they all have what you need, summary, directions. I promise the what you need is very simple. It's all stuff in your house. This is supposed to be very easy for parents, babysitters, grandparents. But they all have, like the ones in the book, they've got what you need, a summary of what you're going to do, simple directions, and then extra challenges. So the idea is you've done this activity one way, let's twist it and do it another way. And then I think my favorite part about them, Miriam, is that we did things to talk about. So we're giving the parents and the child or grandparents and the child things to talk about. So that I came up with my husband. He's a divorced dad, and so he had the unique pleasure of calling the children. How was school today? Fine. What did you do? Nothing. So we came up with these because grandma could have, heard, you can call your kid's grandma and say, hey, we read Where on Earth Am I Today? And here are 3 questions from the story.
I love
Or,
that.
yeah, or here are three
You're bringing
questions.
in other family members to
Yes.
this learning and engagement and connection as well, which is really, really cool. And I believe you're helping parents who might not have great creative thoughts, on their own. I know I'm probably not the most creative mom in the world. I have friends who are creative and I steal from them all the time.
But
And
even if
so
you
great.
are creative, there's only so much you can come up with.
Right.
Um, and technology is very hard to compete with. And that's
Yes.
really what we were saying. And I will say too, and the big goal at the end of this is once you get a kid playing and they realize how cool it is, they're going to keep playing. And that's really the end goal here is because you're going to get kids like we were outside and they're just going to keep playing. So that's really, and that's what we found when we did it with our kids and other kids who are doing these is they just want to keep playing because it's fun. It's super fun. So yeah, so we go through the activities. Like I'm holding this one up. This was the 5 senses scavenger hunt. We have kids go around. We say, hey, go around and find something with your 5 senses. So we're teaching about that, and then they can fill out this chart. Um, you can see that it's real simple. You can draw it yourself. But if you have little kids, they can describe it or they can draw it. And then the extra challenges that we put in there is okay, you found something that was soft, now find something that's hard. You found something that tasted sweet, now find something that tastes sour. And the other challenge is find somebody who doesn't know what you found and see if they can guess. So it's just little simple things, but it makes these go for hours if you want them
Yeah.
to.
Like
And then
if you have a snow day and you're done outside because it's so cold and you don't really know what else to do. I mean, it's
exactly.
helpful.
And these, yeah, and like another one is fear not. I love this one. Fassa's scared in it. So we say, take something that you're scared of, a spider. Spider's easy. Most people are scared of spiders, and draw on it and make it funny. Fear not. And so we teach about fear. We teach about overcoming fear. And like the things to talk about in this one is, what did Fassa do to overcome his fears? Is there someone or something you can think about to help you when you're afraid? And then even brave people are scared sometimes. And there's a prompt. It says, adults, talk about ways you have conquered your fears and sharing advice you have. So really trying to just get conversation going. So those are the activities. And then I have a tail twister in everyone, which is a tongue twister, because I just like writing them.
That's
um,
fun.
then I have the hidden pictures. There's Fossa's favorite things and the main character in each story's favorite things. And you go back through the story and you see if you can find them in the illustrations. There are answer keys to everything because I've actually heard from a couple parents that we made it really hard.
Oh,
So yeah, sorry, but
well,
it's
that
challenging.
is the theme of the series is it's
Yeah,
challenging. So
yeah,
for parents too, obviously.
yeah. Then there's coloring pages. So we pulled out some of the pages from the book and put them in here. Now I have written in here. If you go to my website, these are available to print out plus a few more. So if
Okay.
you buy one book and you've got 2 kids and you want to print them out, I didn't want that to be a problem. So you can go and print these out and there's individual pictures of the characters and stuff like that. Then we have a word quiz in in every book. And the big words I was talking about, went ahead and like took the words, showed where they are in the book so the kids can get context clues of what they are. And then I gave 2 completely different answers. So hopefully it should be pretty easy as to what the answer is. But this is the idea of using context clues. So, if I go look at it in the context, and that's just so good for critical thinking, as you
Yes.
were saying.
Yes.
And then after that, these same words are in a word search because word searches are just good on so many different levels for
Yes.
people. And then this word search is also available online plus 2 more. So I just did 3 versions, same words, different places to find them. So And then there's the hidden picture, or the, excuse me, the answer keys. And then we've got Alley Cat is the second one. It goes into a preview of that. So those are the books.
You know what
Um,
I love about this is that what a small amount of money to pay for something so rich and full with so many resources to help not just keep your kids busy, but to educate them and create the creativity and critical thinking skills that will last a lifetime for them. And really, I believe, equip them to fulfill the call of God in their lives.
I think so too. So here's something that was really upsetting to me. If you don't have creativity, you don't have your imagination. Your imagination is so key to so many things, even getting yourself out of anxiety. I mean, so that really was upsetting to me with my when I first met my stepkids, because I was like, they are missing out on these incredible skills. So I wanted to let you know. So I went online. I'm looking down at my notes, but I went online earlier today because I wanted to see um, what the trend has been. So when we first started this, I have to say back, I think it was 2010 is when we had the data from, and I really do have to update this, but it was showing it very sadly, but there was a chart that is packaged content and prepackaged content and information, our access to information is going like this. It was showing that imagination, wisdom, and physical fitness was going like this.
Wow.
um, Not good, and if you lose wisdom, you lose good behavior, you lose a lot of stuff. And then I went and looked into free play. So free play is just going outside, having fun, running around, playing kick the can and stuff like that. Um, Stuff that we used to do. And I think back on that, like when you were playing, you're in your neighborhood and maybe three of you are playing. Well, then a fourth person comes in. You have to adjust, you have to problem solve, you have to, change the rules, stuff like that. Those are really big skills. You don't realize you're learning them. And I do love it when you have a problem when you're playing and your goal is to make everybody want to play. You don't look at it as a problem, you look at it as a challenge, and that is a very big deal. If I can look at my problems as challenges, I'm more likely to solve them. But that's the kind of stuff that we were getting when we were playing, not even realizing it. And it really affects how you show up in life as an adult. And I think it goes without saying, the kids right now, the 20-year-olds and that group, they're not showing up well. And it's not a judgment on them. It's this world that they grew up in. And in 2010, when we 8, 9, 10, when we started this, it was getting bad then. And I started it with my husband, with my sister, and I do want to talk a little bit more about her in just a second, but it was to help combat this. And then here we are now in 2023, we've got the stuff you're talking about in schools. I had no idea about the curriculum back then. That wasn't a thought. And then also, I make this promise. This is a promise to everybody. There is nothing but pure, unadulterated happiness, kid-focused material in my books. There is nothing about sexuality. There is nothing about that. It is
As it should be. This is the way it
as
should
it should
be.
be.
Right. This is what kids need to learn.
That's what they need to learn. And I always joke about this, but it's true. I'm sorry, life gets way more complicated when you add sex to it. They don't need that. They do
No.
not need
Well, and they're not emotionally ready to
no.
absorb that abstract information. I mean, they're just still concretely looking at life as God made them, to be. So I think that's good. What you're giving them is like their fruits and vegetables as kids.
Exactly, exactly. So another thing I found in my research, this was crazy. So there's 12 benefits to free play. So it's brain development, creativity, which we've been talking about, social skills. So listen to this: collaborating with others, playing with others with a common goal, negotiating, that's huge. Um, Learning to follow rules, which is good. But if you're,
Well,
you got so many people,
if you have critical thinking,
critical thinking.
like, okay, that's not a rule I should be following, but
Yes.
it's hard.
Thinking
Yeah.
of others and seeing their perspective, solving conflicts fairly and independently. This is all social skills that you learn: asserting yourself, following another's lead, showing sympathy and empathy, communicating effectively. You get planning skills, motor development, problem solving. I couldn't believe it. Language development, independence, visual, auditory, and spatial perception. You need that to learn to read and write. And
Yes.
then healthy expression. And this was really great. It's a safe way to act out emotions and to learn to cope with them. So think
Wow.
about that when you lose when you're little, but it's not it's just incredible to me how much something that we kind of took for granted, life's simple pleasures, really, really is something our kids need. So,
Absolutely. And I love that you are intentionally doing this. I wanted to show you an article that when you talked about this, how important playing was, I just Googled, I thought, I want to check this out. And it says, is screen time altering the brains of children? And this is found in Healthline, and this is under their parenthood section in Health and News. And it says early results from a large study suggest that screen time may impact children's brains and learning. And you
mhm,
scroll down here to the highlighted section. It says the brain scans show that kids with lots of screen time had a premature thinning of the cortex. This outermost layer of the brain processes different types of information from the senses. That's typically thought to be a maturational process, he said during the CBS interview. And so I guess you hear this, but I think it's important to see data. I'm very
yeah,
data driven and factually driven. And these researchers were from the National Institute of Health. And the data, the preliminary data was from the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study. And the study had more than
that's
11,000
a big
9
deal.
to 10-year-olds at 21 sites throughout the United States. These results were presented in December by study director Gaia Dowling, PhD, on CBS 60 Minutes. And so I used to be pharmaceutical rep. We would never present a study to physicians if it had like 50 patients or 500. A good study had 1,000 or more. And so this is incredibly impressive to have 11,000 9 and 10-year-olds at 21 different sites. So, and this is what they're saying is that it's affecting their brains. Screen time is affecting their brains.
Absolutely. It absolutely does. And that's just these things that I just read. I mean, can you believe just going out and playing kick the can or chasing somebody around does that? But it does. But the idea of the books coming back out with it, I want to help parents because I experienced it. You know, we had our three kids, and I'll never forget the biggest win with that is I had the two younger ones go outside. I mean, it was so bad that like when they were in trouble, I would make them go outside.
Oh, I know people who do that in my neighborhood.
I'm like, oh my
They
gosh, I
just
would have loved
play.
that. Ground me
Yeah.
more, mom and dad. But we sent them outside. They had done a bunch of our Fassa activities, and I'll never forget the middle child, Camille, was chasing our youngest Gavin around, and he was screaming. And we were like, "What's going on?" Well, they had convinced themselves that a water balloon in her hand was Jaws.
Oh,
So they were like, "Do you remember that kind of stuff?" I mean, it's
yeah.
so funny. And she came in, and they used to call me Miss Shannon. She goes, "Miss Shannon, using your imagination is the coolest." And I was like, "Yes, that is it." So I did, in my experience, and other kids that have done this, if you get kids playing, they will keep playing because. And the other thing, and you had said this about God. God put all this stuff inside of us. He made us this way. If we don't tap into it, we're never going to discover it. Um, Another thing that I thought was really interesting in the list that I was reading you, I don't know if I said it, but independence is a really big part of learning that you get from free play because if your parents take time, free time every day and let you play, you get comfortable with yourself
Yeah.
because you're used to being by yourself because then you're by yourself and your imagination's going and you're like, hey, this isn't that bad. You don't need constant streaming at you. Um, I had said I was going to bring my sister up. I just wanted to comment something about the activities. My sister was an elementary school teacher and then she left in full-time mom, but she was very into brain development, which is interesting because you were just saying that. And while she was a teacher, she got her kids up every few minutes to move because our brains cannot stick to stuff very long healthily. Like we just get, I thank God for art class, music class, and gym class, or I never would have made it through school. And I
Right.
was an A student, but I was like, get me going. So,
Right.
but what she did when she helped develop these activities, the activities were not, I helped with them, but I am not an educator. So I had these developed by teachers and people who are really good with this stuff, very creative people. So I wanted to point that out because what they did in these activities is they made sure that they focus on different ways of learning. So I always love pointing this out, but I'm sure you use Google Maps. Um, what what do you look at when you use Google Maps? You personally,
Uh,
do you look at the map?
yes, I look at the map.
Okay, I have to have the words.
That's fascinating. I don't
Uh-huh.
think
And I
I've
know
ever-
some people need to have the auditory. So that's just goes to show we learn in totally different ways, which is another ding on the schools right now because they're just keeping butts in chairs.
Right.
But and I think that's why ADHD is so rampant. It's not. They would have said I had it. I just need to move. I'm, I just like to constantly be moving around. Um, but I did want to point out, so the activities have, they have, they have ways of learning for all kids so that it's not just sitting there in word searches, it's getting up, it's moving. We've got balancing stuff, we've got challenges, everything like that. So that was important for me. I wanted to point that out.
Well, thank
And
you
and
so
just
much.
yeah, and just if you're at home, like it's sscoulter.com/more activities. Um, Go out and try them even before you buy a book. Just kind of, you can see, I think if you scroll up, one of my favorite ones under the heart, actually, I'm sorry, go back down a little bit, is called Bug Box. See that kind of over on
Oh,
the
yeah,
left?
yeah.
I love that one. So out here, we've got a summary of what they are, but it can be hard to talk about things that bug you. In this activity, family members put things that bug them into a bug box and
Oh,
meet
that's
once a
so
week to talk through the
fun.
issues. I think that's
Oh,
so funny.
that's very cute and creative. Well, how can folks order the books? Where can they find the Fassa Tales and how can they connect with you?
Okay, so simple. If you want to go to sscoulter.com, that Miriam has pulled up right now, that has all of my books out there and a description of them. And books 1, 2, and 3 are on Amazon right now.
Okay.
Number 4 is coming out on January 30th. And then 5, 6, and 7, I have them coming out before holidays. So number 4 is before Valentine's Day, and then 5 is before Easter, and then 6 and 7 are for the summer. Um, but if you click on contact, you can contact me. I would love it. And um, there are links on my site to Amazon. So if you go to sscoulter.com, um, you can go right to the books and buy them. You can sign up to be alerted when new books come out. I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Not that I love it out there because I'm trying to
Well,
get people off of technology.
but it's just the way really you can
It's the way you
connect,
get stuff out there.
you can connect with
And
anyone on
here's the
social
thing.
media.
I don't think technology is bad. I want to make sure I always say that. If it weren't for technology, Miriam and I wouldn't have met.
Right. We just have to know how
Yeah.
to manage technology for it not to be an Achilles heel. And really we need to have good time management. I was just talking about this in my earlier interview today about balance and the devil's going to come to your house and tell you to rob a bank and you'd say, "No, I'm not going to do that." He'd come to your front door and say, "Hey, go murder someone." "No, I'm not going to do that." But what he could do is keep you busy, like you have another load of laundry. You can read your Bible tomorrow. You have to make dinner, go to the
Uh-huh.
grocery store, don't pray. You can pray tomorrow. And just all these little things to keep us busy, to disconnect us from our life source, which is Jesus Christ. And so I think
Yeah.
that's the key for moms and just Americans in general. Our lives with technology have gotten so much busier. And so that's why it's so critical that we just learn how to control it and manage it instead of allowing technology to manage us.
Yeah, as we become busier, we don't have as much time for ourselves, um, and therefore we don't have as much time for other people either. And I think that's a problem too. So we have to manage our time too. And I've said this multiple times, but really my heart is to offer moms, dads, anybody interacting, because I just want to give you something easy to get the conversations going, get the activities going, and just give you ideas when you're out of ideas, and give the kids characters that they love and they want to do what the characters are doing.
I'll be
So
sharing
yeah.
this with my neighbor. She has 5 boys, and
Oh,
some of them
yes.
are in elementary school. And she's incredibly creative. But I think she would enjoy the help of some extra creative ideas to get them outside. And so I'd love to share that with
Wonderful.
her. So the Fossa Tale. So an SS Coulter is the way to Google. This lovely lady's name is Shannon, but her author name is SS Coulter. So I just want to clarify that too when you're searching for her, sscoulter.com. And then she is on all those social media platforms. So Shannon, thank you so much for writing the books and thank you for joining us today. I so enjoyed our
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, that's great. And thank you all so much for listening. You can email us at moms@momsonamission.net. That's moms@momsonamission.net. And then our website is momsonamission.net. And we are on all streaming platforms, but Our favorite is Rumble because it is one of the most uncensored platforms. So if you just download the Rumble app, I know some folks don't have that on their phone yet, but if you just download that, and then at the top, there's a search bar and you can just type in Moms on a Mission and click the follow icon, and then you'll be notified when all new episodes are released. And again, thank you guys so much for listening and have a great day. In light of recent bank volatility and skyrocketing inflation, diversification is a must. That's why I use my good friend Andrew Sorcini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Beverly Hills Precious Metals makes it so easy to diversify. I personally ordered some silver and it arrived on my doorstep just a few days later. They make it so easy. And if you're not ready to do that and you just want to ask a few questions, they're there for you too. I personally got some silver and also am rolling over some of my IRA. You can actually roll over your IRA and have it be backed by silver and gold. So if you don't have any extra money to invest in silver and gold, rolling over a 401k or an IRA, or even part of it, if you just want to try it at first, just for a little bit, you can do that as well. So go to bh-pm.com today and ask all your questions. You can connect with somebody. And like I said, you can just get some information at first if you want and pray about it, and then get back with them to roll over part of your IRA or all of it, or order some gold and silver. That's bh-pm.com, and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. Hey, everybody. Did you know that recent research from the CDC says that millions of Americans develop parasitic infections and symptoms often go unnoticed or are misdiagnosed? Parasites are actually the cause of many health problems such as anxiety, depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and unexplained digestive issues. We all need a common sense strategy to improve our health. Moms on a Mission encourages you to reach out to our good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. Dr. Dean's Full Moon Protocol provides all natural detoxification and fights inflammation. And the supplements are made with 100% organic ingredients and are proven to kill parasites safely and effectively. I know after I took Full Moon Protocol, I had more energy. To order your Full Moon Protocol today, go to bravetv.store/mission to save $20 off your first order. That's bravetv.store/mission. According to leading sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle getting a good night's rest. That's why Moms on a Mission loves MyPillow. MyPillow makes amazing pillows, sheets, mattress toppers, robes, towels, literally almost everything you need for a good night's sleep. They also make dog beds for your dogs. So by going to mypillow.com, typing in the code MISSION, you not only receive a high quality product, but you're supporting Moms on a Mission and this podcast. If you like what you're hearing and you agree with it, you believe in it, and you want to support Moms on a Mission, then go to mypillow.com today and order some high quality products, and just type in the code MISSION at checkout and you can save up to 66% off. That's mypillow.com, code MISSION.
Since 2014, Organic Body Essentials has offered clean, simple, certified organic skincare. Our organic face-to-feet and federally compliant hemp and pet products are manufactured under USDA and FDA guidelines. Our products are inspired by God using plants He created. In Ezekiel 47:12, it says, "The fruit is for food and the leaves for healing." We believe in the power of God to heal, so we pray over our products and for our customers. Our therapy in a bottle approach has been widely received, and our customers' testimonials continue to inspire us. You can find us at organicbodyessentials.com and obe.organicbodyessentials.com. Please feel welcome to reach out with questions. Use coupon code MISSION at checkout for a discount. Thank you for your support by using MISSION at checkout to benefit Moms on a Mission and their quest to reestablish traditional values in our education system and empowerment for a healthy lifestyle.